I'd like to start the meeting. 6:30. Bring the meeting to order. First item on the meeting is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of minutes for August 15th. Can I get a motion to adopt the minutes? I'll move that. I'll second. Councilor Grassi, move it. Councilor Moore, second. Discussion. None. All in favor? Aye. For citizens' comments, I would like to tell you, if anybody does have questions, we have 4 additional motions. Motion I will be to appoint Pam Celestian as Deputy Tax Receiver at a rate of $19 per hour. This is a part-time as-needed position during tax collection periods. Motion J will be to approve the payment to the Village of Baldwinsville for Canton Woods Senior Center roof repairs and replacement in the amount of $14,392.50 from available ARPA funds. Motion K will be to authorize the supervisor to sign 3 contracts totaling $110,099, $110.99 to Roselli Northern for paving the following parking lots: Lysander Town Hall, Troopers Barracks, Highway Garage entrance. Motion L will be
a resolution calling for a public hearing to be held at the next regularly scheduled board meeting to consider a local law amending Town Code Section 320-51.1 to allow interim hatching and temporary housing of chickens.
okay.
For educational purposes.
For educational purposes only.
So we have those 4 items. We'll start with citizens' comments. If anybody'd like to come up and speak.
Hello?
Mr. Birch, I don't know if it was on there.
Fred Birch, Plainville Road. I wanted to say thank you to the town clerk for handling my recent FOIL request in a professional manner as always. Timely responses and very polite. So, hello, I'm trying to find out if the town of Lysander has any of the following records in their possession. I'm wondering if the town keeps track via any documents of the total amount of park workers that have been hired in Lysander over the last 8 years since January 1st, 2016, broken down into each calendar year. If the town does keep those records, I'm thinking that they might also have the total amount of park workers who have either quit their job, resigned, broken down into each of those years. I'd also be interested in knowing if the town kept any records about the amount of people who might have been fired from the Parks Department over that same period of time, broken down into each year. I appreciate your time. I look forward to the town's reply to my FOIL request. Thank you and have a good day. Clerk reached out to me and wanted a little bit more specifics, and so I replied back. Let me just start by apologizing for my recent somewhat vague request for town records. I guess I was making an attempt to determine if any of those types of records are even kept or compiled by this town before I made a request for anything. Also, I wanted to be clear that I'm not interested in any personal information about the employees. Don't want to know their names or addresses or anything. I'm only interested in the total amount in each of the 3 categories: hired, fired, or quit. I am generally aware that the town includes the new park hires on the agenda at town board meetings, but not sure if the town compiles any of that information. So I'm requesting any and all documents in the town's possession that would indicate, show, or demonstrate a new hire at the Parks Department, a resignation or quit of a Parks employee, or the termination of a park employee from those timeframes. Thank you. Appreciate your time. The clerk responded back to me in a timely fashion, and I know it wasn't her that compiled the information, but so 1 month later, this is what I got. So a single piece of paper, and so there's some numbers on here, and it breaks it down 2016 to 2024, the number of hires each year, and then the total amount of employees that we have in the park that year. And the reason I was interested in this information is because through attending the meetings, it seemed like this year was a big year for hire. I didn't count them and I didn't keep track, but it seemed like, I don't know, maybe 9 or 12 people were hired in the park in 1 year. We were hiring 4 or 5 one meeting, and then 2 or 3 meetings later we were hiring another 3 or 4. So I'm just like, geez, how many employees do we have? Do we have turnover? But from this information that I got from the town, which I'm pretty sure came from the Parks Department, there's no indication of how many people quit, resigned, or were fired. And I'm like, well, maybe we didn't have any of those. That's why that information isn't on here. But without using any names, I know for sure that somebody who was hired this year for the park quit and has been working in North Syracuse the whole summer. And then I know somebody last year that was hired that quit and is now in the Phoenix Parks Department and has been for the last 2 years. So I would assume that we actually do have people that have quit or have been fired. And I was just trying to see what type of turnover rate we have, or if I can, deduce anything from the numbers. So I didn't get all those, have no idea, but I do notice some other numbers here that when Ann, have we...
Ann Smiley retired in 2014.
Yeah, okay. Have we reduced the amount of maintenance that we have for the town at the park, or have we increased it over the last 8 years? Just roughly. I'm not looking for exact square footage.
Increase the park maintenance?
Do we have more things that we have to maintain there now than we did 8 years ago, or is it relatively the same amount of manpower?
Well, you know how many laborers there are at the park. That's actually gone down.
So, yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Laborers can only do that work. Attendants can only attend to people.
Okay, because from these numbers, I can see that for 4 or 5 years, we were in the mid-20s to low 30s. And then since then, we've been in the 9s to 10s or 12s. So I'm thinking, do we have less maintenance obligations?
No.
Are there less kids that are attending that we don't need as many?
I think what you're missing is when day camp ended. Remember, we used to run a day camp. So
Okay.
those were parks employees, even though we ran it at the school.
So that's what I'm asking. I'm trying to find out, why is it that we used to have 25s and 30s and now we only have 9 or 10s? And then I'm trying to see, are we retaining these employees, or are we getting a lot of turnover and having to hire other people midstream? That's it. That's all I was looking for.
The other thing on the terminations or firings or quittings, I think you get into a personnel issue in that regard, so I don't really think we can.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't asking for names.
I think the numbers give you an idea. You can sit there and subtract or add those numbers every year
Okay.
to know what you were.
Okay.
I think it gives you what your idea of your intent was. Has there been a rapid turnover? And looking at those numbers as I did, I don't really see a sign of it.
So yeah, I started out looking for one thing, didn't get what I wanted, saw another thing, and said, oh geez, what's this? So that, about the daycare, what you were talking about, that's exactly the type of information that I was inquisitive about. That's
Sure.
it. Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anyone else who has any citizens' comments? Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Town board comments. Start with you, Councilor Moore.
All right, I would say, and Jim Struznick's not here to correct me on this, but I hope everyone had a happy summer. I know it's not over technically, but it's our lifestyle.
It's over for you.
We still have a summer, Pete, okay?
You're hoping for a lot of 70-degree days, right?
And we may have, but we probably will. There's no air conditioning. But other than that, though, school's open, drive safe. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching.
I can't help but pick up on what Mr. Moore just said. I cannot believe it's September, the school buses are on the street again. This summer flew by, and I know I speak for a lot of people. Time is just fleeting. So,
And I'll stay on the school theme. It's school tax season, so I'm sure you guys all got your tax bill. So that's a bill you get to vote on. Remember that.
Remember, that's not ours. We
I know.
receive it.
I know.
Okay. Supervisors' comments. I have a couple. Wanted to remind people, this weekend we have Harvest Fest out at Beaver Lake Nature Center, the 7th and 8th, 10 to 5. Hopefully our rain stays away. It's always a great thing. I've attended it since I was a little kid, on and off since then. We do have Parade of Homes coming up, Timber Banks, 19th to the 29th. And housekeeping agenda, tax receiving hours. Tax receiving hours are from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I had tried to get a letter in the messenger the week before. I don't know if I got it this week. I haven't seen the messenger yet today. That was on me. I made that mistake. I didn't have a tax receiver here. I filled the information out wrong to the county. So if you look at your tax bill, it says 9 to 4:30. The tax receiver is here from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. As we have a deputy, I might be able to get that extended to 4:30. We'll see how the training and comfortable as someone goes on their own. And I just wanted to let the public know that. And I'd like to have a moment of silence for the people in Georgia with the school shooting. Unfortunately, another senseless violence happens. And for the young girl that was hit at the near the crosswalk on 31 back in the middle of August. I know the village and I have reached out to the state about getting the flashing lights. I have no idea on the situation that occurred there, but I know the village has pressed the state for flashing crosswalk lights. You see it in a lot of other towns. They're all state roads, so you have to have a state approval process in that regard. So, with that unfortunate accident, maybe something like that will come to. I've had run-ins where in front of the library where I've almost had people with traffic stop. You just get used to people waiting to allow the side road out, and it is confusing in that area, and that is a hard place, but unfortunately, accidents happen. So, and I also want to let everybody know, we will have an executive session after the meeting. It's for pending litigation and legal matters. So that being said, we will move on to...
Can we have that over there?
Oh, sure, sorry. Okay, thank you. And now we will move on to department head reports. Town attorney.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Town engineer.
Nothing.
Town clerk. I'll go to Dina first before Teresa has a small presentation.
I'm good tonight, thank you.
Okay. Teresa, our assessor.
Yes, good evening. Supervisor Road had asked me, it's getting to be budget time, and what are our taxable values, and what was the impact of our senior citizen change to the income amount for the income limit. So I ran some reports, and I thought it would be a good idea to come and just hit the high points for you and ask any questions that you might have. So the first report that you have, and I highlighted the numbers so you can see them, our total assessed value went up $28 million and change from 23 to 24, which are the two assessment rolls, this assessment roll and the one prior. The taxable value, though, only went up about just over 18 million. And you ask, well, how can that be? And if you look at the second report, you will see that in 2023, which was last year's assessment roll, prior to the income increase for the senior citizen exemption eligibility, there were the amount exempted for town in the town of Lysander total, including the portion that's in the village of Baldwinsville, was just under $19 million. With the change to the income, we went from 677 exemptions to 776 exemptions, so about 100 exemptions more. And the amount went up to $31.7 million. So that's a difference of $12 million, 12.7. So that is why the taxable value went up significantly, but in this case, the taxable value, the total assessed value went up significantly. It was enough to actually cover the increase. That's not always the case. So, so you're going to have an increase in assessment and taxable value, but you're not going to have as much of an increase in taxable value as you would have if we had not increased those senior citizen income limits. And the county's going to be facing the same thing. I don't know how wide it's going to be countywide, but because it's been 15 to 20 years since the county changed anything, it was a big jump from 37.4 to 58.4. Questions?
Yeah, so just for the sake of the public understanding this, the assessed value went up for two reasons, I would think. There's new houses in the community.
Yeah, yes.
Well, let me finish.
Yep.
So I'm just guessing new houses, and anybody that has made an improvement on their property might hear from you in terms of increasing the assessment, but you're not doing any general reassessments throughout the community.
No. All of the changes that have occurred primarily, unless there's like a commercial property and it's a change in use, it's not necessarily a physical change, but it went from one type of commercial property to another. That's more of an equalization change because it wasn't physical. But primarily, most of our changes are for physical changes, building permits, additions, pools, new houses, new construction of any kind. And that's where that comes from. Okay. And I'd also like to point out that because of these, the school districts have not changed their senior citizen law. And the school districts, we have 4 of them in Lysander, they are all different income levels, but the procedure to calculate that income up until this past year was the same. You start with this, you add these, and then you use the chart for what level that each school district allows as far as the income brackets, between 5 and 50%. When the county and the town changed their procedure in the way they calculate income, the primary difference is the county and the town raised our income limit up, so the people that are below that higher income limit get the exemption. But we count the IRA distributions that appear as taxable on the tax return. Prior to that, we didn't. So now the situation that we have that just came to light is most of the school districts have not changed. So they are still excluding that IRA, but they have a lower income bracket scale. And so what has happened in the county, we have a program that allows you to put the income for that homeowner in, and only we can see it. So basically you plug the income, calculated income into the system, and the system based on the library will calculate the percentages. We have never done it that way in Lysander or Van Buren, and a lot of other towns as well, because we have so many different brackets that we're looking at that it was quite confusing to do that and have to double check that the computer is right. So what we do is we calculate the income on the form that the property owner submits with the income information, and then based on our scales, we enter the exemption codes for county, town, school, all of them at a certain percentage based on that income bracket. What happened is the towns that are putting in the income in the system, even though the library has the different scales, the one income overwrote all the other incomes. So now we have county and town income with IRA, but then we have school district income without IRA, and they didn't jive in the computer. So manually, we went in and looked at all of ours over the last 2 days to make sure that we caught that difference in the calculation of 2 different incomes. We found 3 that were missed. 2 of them we are correcting, and 1 of them the house actually sold and the exemptions have come off. So it's a moot point. So we're further ahead doing it manually than the people that put the income in, and it turned out all these bills are wrong. So, and we have just sent out all the renewals for next year.
Right.
Yep, to those 800 or so property owners. So, any other questions?
Not related to, well, it is related to this, but I'm just curious what your sense is in terms of how housing values or home values, have they stabilized, or
No.
they're still going through it?
No.
But fine.
No, they're still crazy. Yeah, they haven't. I think the number of sales are down year to year, but that's because of the lack of inventory, not the lack on the demand side. And values have not come down at all, and they have not stabilized to this point. But we're not looking at this time frame. We stopped with July 1st. That's where we stopped for this next year. So up to that point, no, not yet.
I do have a side question.
Sure.
And this, I don't know the answer, so I'm going to ask it. Someone on the river, are they looked at as like a different value as opposed to a house sitting on a road?
Waterfront is one of the adjustments.
Okay.
Typically, our waterfront, or most of its river frontage, not all, is coded in a different neighborhood than our other neighborhoods. And so when we look to value those properties, we're looking at sales of properties that have river frontage.
Okay.
And then we adjust for those factors.
So my second question being, with the water chestnuts and the issues we have on the river in the area, if someone came in and pleaded that they have a diminished value because they can't access the river, would that be?
We haven't seen that in sale prices yet.
Okay.
But we have had.
But if you had, because I know people can come into you.
Yeah, they can.
Right.
The problem is, because waterfront is limited and there is a high demand for that, it hasn't been reflected in sale prices at this point.
Fred, you have to go outside.
2 years ago, we actually had a gentleman from the rural part of the town came in to the grievance board on grievance day with a 5-gallon bucket full of the water chestnuts to show the board. So they have opportunities to do that.
Okay.
The problem is, I can't usually adjust something if I don't see it reflected in the values.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they can always come to the grievance.
Yep, they can try, they can do both, yeah.
Reason I asked, I was at a forum and someone had brought that up, and I'm like, valid question, because I know you could come in and have it informal, and you could always go to the grievance board.
To the grievance board.
And I, wanted to know options for people that have questions, because I know when the county came up with the plan, they actually didn't address the actual Seneca River on the Jack's Reef area, and the county and other entities harvested the water chestnuts out of the state ditch, as we call it, the canal system, but omitted the actual river part this year. And some of those people really can't get out of their boats or docks.
They're in the river now, my Cooper.
So, yes. And they're finishing up the harvesting in September, so.
Excuse me. I have a question for Teresa. The enhanced star, it's not the income, but the enhanced star, is that still the same or is that increased?
It has increased. The income limit is 108 and change.
Okay, the exemption, has the amount of the exemption, it used to be what, 60 some odd thousand that came off of your
No,
assessment?
it's not a flat fee exemption. It used to be, when it first came out, it was 30,000 for basic.
Right.
60,000 for enhanced, okay? They don't do it that way anymore. The state calculates, according to the law, the state calculates based on the tax rates for each school district, the maximum amount allowed by law, and it's a dollar figure off your bill. And it is 15,000 for enhanced, or 1,500 for enhanced, 1,535, I believe, for the enhanced, and it's about $588 for dollar amounts
So
for
the
the
checks
basic.
that they send out, I got a check, I didn't go on and do, because now you can go on and have it done automatically, and I
The
didn't do that.
check amount is, for the enhanced star, is actually larger than the exemption on the bills.
Okay,
Yeah, so if you got a check, you're getting more than the people that have the enhanced star on their tax bills.
okay.
But as of last year, I haven't seen the numbers for this year, the basic star amounts, the checks, and what's on the tax bills are the same.
Because I
Okay.
got like 1,680 last year on the enhanced.
Yeah.
It should be the same this year, is what you're saying.
That's calculated by the state. It can only go up a certain percentage, I believe it's 2% a year. So if the tax rates go up more than that in your school district, it doesn't go up as much, okay? That's why they do it in a dollar amount now.
To make it harder.
To make it more confusing, yes.
Yeah. So that you can't figure it out as an average taxpayer.
Yeah.
Okay, is that everybody? Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa.
No problem.
Next up on the agenda is agenda items. First item, motion A, I'd like to get a motion to approve the special event license for the 2024 Parade of Homes Timber Banks.
I'll move it.
Discussion. Mr. Merrill approved it. He didn't have any issues with it. As I said, it's from September 19th to 29th. They'll have parking, I think, across from the Y, and have a little bus moving people to the circle where the Parade of Homes will be. All in favor? Aye. Motion approved. Yes. Motion B, I'd like to get a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign the customer service agreement with UniFirst.
I'll second it.
Discussion. This is the agreement with UniFirst. It's off a state contract or a Sourcewell, a bid service that we use for the highway uniforms, safety uniforms, town hall, floor mats, everything like that. The contract that expired, to keep the lower pricing, we have to sign the contract to get those rates. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Motion C, I'd like to get a motion to hold a public hearing on Thursday, September 19th at 6:30 PM, Lysander Town Hall, to consider a local law under Article 29 to extend the moratorium on solar farms in the town of Lysander. This moratorium will be extended to March 15th, 2025, if approved. This motion shall authorize the town clerk to advertise for sale.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Just to let the public know again, I still have not had a chance to go through the state findings between the solar farms and our planning board. Those are recommendations. Recommendations, thank you, Al, on solar farms and battery storage. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Motion D, I'd like to get a motion to hold a public hearing on Thursday, September 19th, 2024, 6:30 PM in Lysander Town Hall to consider a local law under Chapter 102-7 to extend the moratorium on Tier 2 battery energy storage in the town of Lysander. This moratorium will be extended March 15th, 2025. If approved, this motion shall authorize town clerk to advertise for the same.
I'll second it.
Discussion, as I previously said, that, this is just to extend it. I'm fairly certain we'll have this done by the end of the year. All in favor?
Aye.
passed, motion carried. Motion E, I'd like to get a motion to hold a public hearing to adopt a local law to override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law 3C on Thursday, September 19, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. in Lysander Town Hall. This resolution shall authorize the town clerk to advertise for the same.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Discussion, we do it every year just in case we do go over the 2% or whatever is determined to be the tax cap of the year after the formula is created. If we don't go over it, we rescind the motion at the public hearing or when we vote to approve the budget. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Motion F, I'd like to get a motion to set the punch list security for Whispering Oaks Phase 4, Section 3 at $51,500 as recommended in the engineer's letter dated 8/28/2024.
I'll move it. I'll second it.
Discussion. I had put these 3 items on the agenda. The town engineer had sent them to us. We do have some issues that I will let Al discuss to the board before we make a decision on this.
So we did receive the legal descriptions that are required for the easement agreements just this afternoon, and David is going to prepare those easements and get them filed. So we'll just wait on actually allowing Jack to sign the subdivision map until those easements are filed. They did do some work, punch list work. They did topsoil and hay and seed mulch, the disturbed areas, and they did put inlet protection, erosion sediment control around all the catch basin inlets through there, which will help with our erosion problem. It does look like they started to dig the swale behind the lots adjacent to the private drive. They got a little bit of work to do there, but the machine is still there, and it looks like they'll be back at it tomorrow morning. So I'm comfortable at this time that they've addressed the big concerns that we had, and would be comfortable with the board moving forward with dedication, just contingent on the final easement agreements being filed at the county clerk's office.
Yes.
Should I add that to the motion or?
It's up to you. I mean,
I'd leave the motion the way it is right now. We can do it on the 19th.
Okay.
So we get the agreements executed and back by then.
Yeah.
But they're ready for final.
And this is necessary because the developer, per our town code, can only have 2 building permits, correct, on it?
and he has deposits on 8 of the 13 lots, is my understanding.
Right. So there's a few issues that have been underlying in the new development that I have been on this case about that they're not all town issues.
No, but they are going to pave
The private drive.
the private drive in the Phase 2 section of Park and...
Yeah, they're going to do the whole road when they...
looks like Monday.
Okay. So a lot of the things are in motion to be prepared.
Yeah, it'll be Monday or Tuesday.
He would need this to be able to approve more building lots, and he is moving forward with it. So if Al's good with it, that solves a lot of my questions. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Motion G, I'd like to get a motion to set the maintenance security requirements for Whispering Oaks Phase 4, Section 3 at $93,178 as recommended in the town engineer's letter dated 8/28/2024.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion was the same as before. And Al, you're comfortable with the dollar amounts and everything? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Motion H, I'd like to get a motion to accept dedication of Rubicon Road, 0.175 mile cul-de-sac and associated sanitary sewer, public water, and storm sewer utilities included in the Whispering Oaks Phase 4, Section 3 development.
Subject to the ultimate receipt and filing of the necessary easement.
Yep.
Subject to necessary receipt and filing of easements. Okay.
I'll
Again?
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion. Same as before. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Motion I. I'd like to get a motion to appoint Pam Celestian as deputy tax receiver at a rate of $19 per hour. This is a part-time as-needed position during tax collection periods.
I'll move that.
Okay. One second.
No.
I'll second.
Oh, second.
Councilor Morris, seconded. Okay, discussion. As I had stated before in the work session, we have deputy tax receiver to assist the current tax receiver, and it will, right now, it doesn't look like it would be over 20 hours a week. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Motion J, I'd like to get a motion to approve payment to the Village of Baldwinsville for Cantonwood Senior Center roof repairs and replacement in the amount of $14,392.50 from available ARPA funds.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Discussion. As I had stated in the work session, the total bill for the roof was $164,392.50. Village of Baldwinsville received a $100,000 grant. The town of Van Buren got a CDBG grant from the county for $50,000, which per our agreement, the towns assist with the maintenance and upkeep of Cantonwood Senior Center, and that left the remainder for us, which we had found out the roof repairs needed in March. They have all been done. I have the canceled check from the village, so I know it's been paid for. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Motion K, I'd like to get a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign 3 contracts totaling $110,099 to Rosselli Northern for paving the following parking lots and driveways. Lysander Town Hall, 8220 Loop Road, $65,956. Lysander Troopers Barracks, 3071 Belgium Road, $21,706. Lysander Highway Garage Entrance, 2726 West Entry Road, $22,437. The projects will be completed with available ARPA funds.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Did you tell the trooper guy that?
Yes. As we discussed in the work session in the previous meeting, these are, 15, 20-year plans. These are town buildings. So this is a great investment that I don't think any of us might be here the next time this comes across this desk. So it's a good thing to do with this money. Anyone else have anything? All in favor?
Aye.
All approved. Motion L. I'd like to get a motion that
To hold a public hearing on Thursday, September 19th, 2024 at 6:30 PM at Lysander Town Hall to consider the adoption of a local law amending Section 320-51.1 of the Town Code to make specific provisions for the hatching and raising not to exceed 30 days of chickens for educational purposes only, and authorizing the clerk to advertise for sale.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
It'd be tough when they threw the educational purpose in there, right? Discussion.
I've been through the chicken.
Do you want to do the chicken dance or not?
You might get more people to tune into the meeting if you did.
All more. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay. I would like to get a motion to go into executive session at 7:08 PM.
I'll move it.
Ruckus, do I have a second? Moore. We're entering into executive session at 7:08. We will not have any decisions or actions after the executive.